Hi, everybody. This is Christopher here at the Festival of Tübingen, and I'm having a discussion with Mélanie Charbonneau and Martin Ferensen. Mélanie is the director of the movie Fabuleuse, a fabulous movie, and she's sitting in Montréal, Quebec, a wonderful place. And we have Martin, who is a journalist, blogger, and a so-called cultural anthropologist. So it's going to be very interesting. He's a specialist in the field of internet. I hope you had time to see Mélanie's film. I looked at it again because I love it, and it was a. Thank you, Mélanie. Hi, Martin. Do you hear me?
Yes,
hi everyone.
Okay,
hi.
Thank you for taking time off. I know also, Mélanie, that you're shooting a movie right now, and so you just took a break for us. And I just wanted to ask you first, probably, Mélanie, what made you shoot the movie or write the movie and choose that theme?
What happened is that I wrote that web series in 2015, which was based on ideas that I had. It was three girls that were working in a magazine, and they were doing an internship. And we had at that time there was one character that was a blogger, which was kind of the nemesis of Clara Diamond, And so we did this web series, and the network stopped the project after 5 episodes, not because it wasn't good, it was just because they had other intention, they wanted to do other projects. So but I wasn't done with those characters, and I wasn't done telling that story. So and in the meantime, the phenomenon of fashion blogger and Instagram became, like, from 2015 to 2000, I guess when I started writing the film was 2017, kind of become bigger and bigger. And I was just like, there's something there. They're like, those people, those YouTubers, they have more followers than sometimes even the daily news. Like, so what's happening there? Why people are reaching for them? Why people are watching them? And also, I was always like, I'm always curious about how technology is shaping us and is changing your human relationship. I explored that previously in a short film, which was about a breakup in the Facebook era, when you break up, we always say in French, loin des yeux, loin du cœur, which means like far from sight, far from the heart. And I was just like, it's no more impossible. Like, you cannot forget your ex because you always see him on Facebook. So I did that, I explored that previously. So I was always curious on that. And also, how I started as a director is that I did a short film that I put on YouTube in 2006. So it was kind of like 14 years ago, but it became a phenomenon on YouTube. And it's kind of started my career, like a part, like the character in the film Laurie. And I was always, from that moment, there was kind of this breaking point when I was just like, there's something there. And I was really influenced by that. My first kind of work was doing video content for YouTube, for a different platform. And but I came back to fiction, and I thought that experience could become maybe a story somehow.
Yeah, but so it's also part of your life now in some sort of way. It's funny because I'm so stressed out with the festival, and last night I dreamt about you and the movie, and in the dream it was autobiographical. You were the character, and you were going through all this, and I was like, I've got to get some sleep.
but yeah, basically it's like there's part of the character of Laurie that's from me, that's from my experience, like becoming kind of a YouTube phenomenon. But also, I think the story I wanted to tell with Fabulous is the story of women relationship and women friendship, and how those friendships are kind of a bit different now with social media, and also showing women relationship that are not based on like fighting over boys or like or just fighting like I feel that sometimes in movie women are competitive with each other. In Fabulous, there's kind of this, but at the same time, they still be friends. Like even though they fight, even though they're not agreeing on everything, they still be friends. And I think that was something that was important for me also.
And Martin, we talked earlier today, and you said that all this is like a Pandora's box, the internet, and all that. Maybe you can say your thoughts about these influencers and in what kind of time where we slipped into.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I find that interesting because I think you can't or we won't get rid of them anymore. They're going to stay, and they're and it's not that bad that they're going to stay because like back in the days, journalists were the ones who kind of took care of distributing information and cutting through the noise. And nowadays it's either algorithms that take care of that, or it's influencers. And influencers are most likely seen by like those people to taking care of what type of clothes you should wear, what makeup you should put on, etc. But there are also these influencers that take care of what music you should listen to and what books you should read and what articles a good choice. And I think this is quite a nice development. But it all depends on the accuracy of those influencers, because there's a big difference between journalists and influencers, because journalists have somewhat rules that they depend on and that they oblige to or obey, or whatever you want to call it. And influencers don't have to follow the same rules. So they are more free. And there is a chance and also a big problem. And we are really looking forward to having more influencers, even like in all different kind of ways. But it's all about the people consuming those informations, that they have to somewhat be careful and have to somewhat be they can't be too certain about the information they get. And but I think it's a really interesting development, and we won't get rid of those influences.
If I just like to say one thing there, because we're live, so if anybody is watching, wenn jemand guckt, si quelqu'un regarde, you can ask questions, vous pouvez poser des questions, and we will receive them and we will sort them out, and I will forward the questions. Sorry guys, I just wanted to make that clear.
No, excellent.
So yeah, because for me, I of course I have a Facebook account and accounts like this. It used to be great with Facebook is that all of a sudden I was reaching out to people. I didn't even have their telephone number. I didn't know where they were in the world. I was happy to get in touch, and we write. Of course, you don't write so often, but you kind of stay in touch, and it was going back and forth. And then all of a sudden, I just realized slowly that it wasn't going back and forth. It was more and more people posting about themselves, taking pictures about themselves, not about where they are, but about them in something where they are, and then their kids or dogs or cats, whatever is more important to them. And so that was a very strange thing. You know, my mom's 90 and she's like Facebook, Instagram addict. Her cat is a star in Instagram, and she posts nonstop. So it's very interesting how it's all about me. It's not about us anymore.
Yeah, but it's the way the platforms are designed, I guess, because the platforms aren't encouraging discussions. They are more about you producing yourself, you presenting yourself. And on these platforms, everything is in competition with each other. So like everything becomes somewhat like a commodity on those platforms. And either it's your thoughts, your photos, your experiences, like everything gets traded. And for the companies, or for companies like Facebook, it's pretty much irrelevant whether you choose like the wedding photos of your cousin, or you are reading the $100,000 investigative reporting from the New York Times. it all depends, or it all comes down to like you spending more time on those platforms. So everything becomes a commodity, and that makes people, or that is quite an incentive for people posting and producing themselves, representing themselves, and not that much being interested in really discussing themes or becoming more close to people, I guess.
One thing that we explore doing Fabulous is that what I wanted to show is that the character of Clara, like at the beginning, I presented her the way people think she is. Like, so you kind of, when you see she's on first time on screen, you see her in her Instagram stories, and you see her like with her boyfriend. And I wanted to show that these people are also human, that are not, like, they have emotion, they have trouble, they have problem. And sometimes we only see if like everyone else, we kind of decide which part of us we're showing on Facebook, on Instagram. And what I wanted to take, because I watched so many YouTubers like for research, and I developed a lot of empathy towards them, and the fact that they're like producing so much content, that that for their community, sometimes they become like a friend and they're giving advice, and I was just like, so I wanted to show that in Clara's character, instead of showing her the way that people think all influencers are like empty, and they're just like, because and that's why this character, lots of people, it's one of their favorite character, because it has so much depth into it. Like, you show it, and as the movie develops, you care more and more for her, and less for Laurie, which is the main character. And that's how I developed the film, kind of having their two curve, like, as when you start loving Clara, you start hating more and more Laurie, and at one point you like both of them at the end. So, but it was important for me to show that also, that human part of it, or that like basically those people online, they're the same people as us. They're just trying to do something else. Like,
yeah, totally. But I think the picture that those influencers, those YouTubers are really stressed out by their profession, by what they are doing, becomes more and more transparent, because there are all these videos, them telling the people watching them, well, this is really getting tough on me, and this is really stressing me out, and this is, I feel it's like burning me out in some sense. And then you have like all these influencers speaking about how they're going to therapy because there's so much pressure on them, and they're all in these, it's not a gig economy, but they're all like in these, I don't know the English expression for it, but they're like all their own chief creators, and they don't really have a net that they can depend on. And that's really interesting, and I appreciate that you make that clear in the movie.
No, it's wonderful. I thought this crisscross, where one fades into this outer world and the other one becomes real, and also the friendship, because at the end they still will stay friends. It was quite beautiful what you said also, Melanie, in the beginning about the relationship of these girls.
Yeah, and even two characters like Elisabeth and Clara, who are total opposite in the film, kind of at the same time. At one point, they share common ground, and Elisabeth comes and helps Clara, like, because she just see that she's in distress, or like she doesn't feel well, and she just comes and help her in the way she can. And that was important for me to see. If I would have made something different in the film, is that I will have make more scene with the three of them together, like, because every time there's the three of them together on screen, there's something happen, because there's those three characters so different, but at the same time their idea is kind of always bringing something forward, like a new idea, or like they're challenging each other. So I like,
Yeah, and there's one great sentence, probably, I don't know if it's the sentence, but for me it was, il faut souffrir pour être fabuleuse. You have to suffer to be fabulous. And that's such a statement, you know, for today. or for that world of make believe and presenting yourself. So
and the thing is, it's you can decide if you want that to be part of yourself, like the fact she's saying that in the scene, that when she's like there, she's waxing her leg, and it's Elizabeth that said to Laurie, like she's just like helping her waxing her leg, and it hurts, and she's like, you need to suffer to be fabulous. So and what I wanted to make feel, and like have a kind of a distance, because as a woman, like we have so many standards that we have to answer to, like the way we look, and for men also, but like for women, I guess historically, and the fact that we have we always there's something that in society and the way we're
well, your object of desire.
Yeah, objective, exactly. And that, like, it's kind of, even though you don't want that, it's kind of starting to ingrain in your head, even though when you're in your young age, and even though you're not agreeing to everything, you at a certain point you kind of follow some standard. And what I wanted with the film is just to have like kind of create this distance, but with social media you always kind of try to answer to those standards and trying to transform yourself with filter and everything. I was just wanted everyone to think a bit about it, just to have this kind of distance and just saying, why do I doing this? And am I really conscious of all the impact that this has on me, and how I feel about myself, and about how I'm confident about myself, and is it true to my value? And that's what the film is. That's what those three characters kind of like fighting over ideas, or the character of Laurie is kind of from the beginning to the end of the film, she's changing a lot because she's embracing that new like online character. So yeah,
the importance of image, maybe Martin can talk about it, because its image has become so important, and it's also changed through time, because before you only had photos of models. And now men have been made into objects too, and now you don't have photos. Everybody's filming and acting kind of strange, or overacting, and everybody wants to be like that, so everybody's acting the same way. So. And
there's also a democracy of the technology, because like in the film you see that she's like, and she can change the shape of her lips, the way, and it's so easy to do. Before that, it was like a model in magazine that had access to it, like to that Photoshop and that technology that was kind of more complicated. But now it's so accessible because there's progress also, like technically, and that all those like kind of tricks of the industry is now available for everyone.
Yeah.
So
maybe Martin wants to say something about this.
No, I mean the democratization of tech is really a point there, but it's also interesting to see how convenient it is for especially young people, to communicate via photo and via picture and via video. For instance, there's this company Snapchat, which is quite popular among young people, and they are not calling their users digital natives, but rather camera natives. Which quite makes quite the point that they are aware of how they communicate. They don't text each other. They rather send pictures to each other, and it's really interesting to see how culture is evolving in that space. And I don't mind it. I mean, there's all these words and all these big articles about youth culture, how it is changing society, how it's changing the written language, etc. And I wouldn't be so pessimistic. I think it's rather like on top of people writing each other, and it's not that it's like one thing is coming and the other is going. It's rather complementary, and I find that very interesting.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm from another generation. I grew up now later with this, but it's very strange because I don't follow any either bloggers or influencers. I just see some things from outside. It's like I saw there was this girl who, I already told you, Martin, she was on a boat. All the kids were in the water having fun with little scooters, electric scooters. And she was, during the whole vacation, she was stressed out. And she was always on her phone on Facebook. And all of a sudden somebody said, well, look, just go in the water and try the scooter. And she said, okay. And she went in. And she said, could you take a picture of me? And so they took a picture of her. And then she went back on the boat. She didn't even try it. And she posted the picture going, here I am doing this, but she's not really doing it. And then she's waiting all day to see who's saying I like or I don't like or is not answering. And then she's stressed out because why aren't people not liking it? So it's very, for me, it's all very strange, you know, for the kids, how much pressure there is to be liked. I saw another girl, she was 10, all she was saying to another girl was, oh my God, I can't understand, but you know, Melissa, she's got 400 friends on Facebook, and you know who she is and what she is. So it's very strange that at 10 years old, they're already taken by all that.
Yeah. I think it's important to also kind of understand how those, like how Facebook and Instagram work with the likes and the comment and on the effect on your brain. And Martin, you can probably know complete what I'm going to say, but it's just it's kind of it's the same thing that going to the casino basically is like, it's built the way that if you're getting a like in your brain, it's kind of giving you kind of this little hint of like happiness, and you're always reaching for it. Or if you lose, you're kind of feeling depressed, but then you get that little high because there's someone else that post a comment. So it's kind of, it's built in an addictive way. And I think it's for every person to kind of try to find this balance. I know sometimes when I'm stressed out, I'm going more online than when I'm not stressed out, because it's a way of like, I don't know, it's a way of compensating for something. And when you're, so I think it's finding a right balance in the time you're being online, your relationship with it, and trying to understand the mechanism that keeps you online just from scrolling, or basically waiting for likes.
There's quite an interesting movement, or quite an interesting trend, because more and more people get that those social networks work exactly this way, and they're kind of getting bored of it and getting tired of it, and they're going different places. They're going to messengers, and they're going to groups, like WhatsApp groups or Discord or Slack or whatever, and there aren't the same mechanics. There aren't any likes, and there aren't those algorithms picking certain pictures or picking certain people more than others. And people appreciate these more private rooms, and not private in a data sense, but private in a sense of I can actually manage who is going to be the ones that I'm sending those pictures to. And this is a trend that is taking that's becoming bigger. And I think it's also because of all those influencers, all those companies, all those brands, all these ads, etc., flooding like the news feeds on Instagram and on Facebook, and all these all these screams for attention is kind of making people tired, and they don't want to be part of it. And so they, like, the social networks are all built on that, and they're all designed to make people stick around and make them use all these apps as often as possible. But I think people slowly getting it and going different places. And I mean, we are still early with those social media platforms. It's like been around for 10, 15 years or something, and we are learning. Like, we're all, like, society.
It's still a jungle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's no. What's you know, there's always negative sides, but like right now, all this Zoom and all, you know, FaceTime, Skype, all these things. It's wonderful because just to sit here with you is magical. I mean, because you have a feeling of connection. It's like if you're in the same room almost. And at the same time, it's like this feeling of togetherness. Like the other day, we did a really nice little team movie where we all on Zoom, but everybody was somewhere else. And for a moment, we were all together, and then it stopped, and all of a sudden, everybody was alone. And you feel so empty. It's like the moment we're going to stop talking, there's going to be, for myself, this feeling of loneliness. I'll be alone in the studio, or I'll be cut off from you. And so that it's wonderful on one side, but it is true that we are still far away. So even these, I'm not used to going online in chat rooms or things like that. It's probably not my culture, or I haven't gone there yet. I'm happy when I can see my daughters that I can't see, but it's quite amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Hold on. Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, I was just saying, going to say that there are definitely these upsides, and it's. Social media has done a fantastic job in many ways, but it is like all these platforms are not really like built to make people happier, and they are not built to make people smarter, and they are not built to make people more comfortable with themselves or whatever. They're built for having people smaller platforms, maybe more specialized. For instance, you have all these really nice sport apps like Strava, etc., where you can track your running performances or bike performances, etc., and you can group around these events, and then you have a discussion on it, and then you have also like a performative aspect of it, because okay, who goes faster on his bike, who can go running faster, whatever. But this is another kind of competition. It's not about likes, but it's rather about like real world events. And I think we're going to see more of these specialized apps and specialized networks where people can come together from all around the world, but really looking at like a certain topic or something. And I think Facebook and Instagram won't be able to change that dramatically their course.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see. I saw that it's younger people keep moving. They're constantly surfing a new wave and changing things, and it's an older generation who went on Facebook, but they're not leaving Facebook. They might go on Instagram, but they're still staying on Facebook. And I was amazed because I'm always in touch. We have for the festival, we have young people that come into the team. And then if you're looking for a picture of them on internet, you don't find, most of the time, you don't find the pictures. So although they're using it, this new generation is very smart and knows not to post their picture. Because I've Googled sometimes, and I'm like, what? I can't find anybody. And I thought, wow, this should be the generation where I'm going to be flooded with pictures, and you can't find them. So I find that quite fascinating, that they're very smart and pay attention, watch out, you know.
Yeah.
Melanie, you tell me when you have to go, you know, because I know you're shooting, you said, right?
Yeah, I still have 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. But one thing I wanted to add on this is that one thing that I wanted for people to kind of learn from the film, or kind of think of the film, is that at the end, like, you always need true friendship, like face-to-face friendship, and you need those friends that's going to help you out, bring that sofa on the roof. Like, you need those real life person. So even though, like, sometimes you feel the connectiveness and the relationship you can develop online, it's nice when they can also become offline relationship, or that, like, you need to still care and and protect those real life relationship, even though you can like, it's always kind of finding that balance. It sounds a bit cliche, but I think it's important to find it can be really, and like social media can be really useful, and I think in those time right now we can really understand that we still connected with our family, our friends. And I think the one of the problem we're facing is also, it started as something really for people close to you, but now you're adding lots of people from different like closer friends, further just accountants, or like, so it's kind of a mix. So you're kind of becoming your own media, but you don't want to be, you still want to just post picture of your dog so your mom can see it, but it's kind of this mix of everything. And people are still confused or don't know exactly how to deal with it. But you're right with that younger generation, that they kind of understand more all the aspect of it, and also the security of it, and how you like the protection of your data. That's really important, I think. Like my dad don't understand the protection of his data. He's just open, like he has an open Facebook, like, but but yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think everybody's also, we put everything on the back of internet and of all these, it's always everybody else's fault, but I mean, we're also responsible if we post something, if we buy something on Amazon, if we, you know, so we don't have such an excuse.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I was talking with a guy in the team about, because I don't buy on Amazon unless I have no other choice, and I keep telling people, look, if don't complain if you don't have a job, because you're buying on Amazon, so the jobs are all disappearing, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. But and they're killing all the shops. But he said, and he was right. He said, before it was the big shops, you know, the La Fnac, or whatever, Saturn here in Germany, these huge department stores that were killing the little stores, and now they're being killed by Amazon. So it's just the same thing that's happening, and there should be no reason why we feel sorry for Marks and Spencers or these huge shops. You know, it's just the way life goes on, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. I don't want to agree with that. I still want to go to my little coffee shop.
Yeah, that's why
to my local bookstore and etc. And wanna have the personal recommendations, etc. And of course I do buy stuff on Amazon as well, but for certain things that like I'm really in love with music, and I have a huge record collection and like vinyl, and I still go places in Europe, and well, of course not Corona, but back in the days, I'm loving going to shops and collecting vinyls, etc. And I don't want Amazon taking care of it. So yeah. And what comes next? I mean, Amazon is so big right now, nobody's going to buy Amazon. So how are we gonna get rid of Amazon? And I have no idea. Seriously, I think they're like somewhat the end boss.
Yeah, and they're even opening up. No, they killed the bookstores, and so they're opening bookstores, Amazon bookstores. Mm-hmm. You know, so you're gonna have at the end, all the shops are gonna be gone, but you'll have the Amazon butcher, the Amazon bookstore, and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's important to still go by in little shops and talk to people.
Yeah, I think as like we're like craving for, and I think right now because of distanciation and lockdown, we kind of understand more the impact of how a community and a social life is important to our mental health, and social media, why it works is that it's kind of it's basically responding to that need of connection, but I think it will never fulfill the same way that having a community around you, having your bookstore that you're going to, having that coffee shop that the person is kind of recognized it, like know your name and talks to you, and like what's his life about, and you can tell that it's going good or bad. And because you cannot say that or ask that to Amazon when you're going there, like you just like,
and you don't want to.
yeah, you don't want to have news from Amazon. But so that and right now, I don't know if you felt that, but being like in Quebec, we had a long lockdown, and at one point you just feel like that it's missing, and that it has a really huge impact on you physically and emotionally and mentally, that you're not seeing anyone.
Well, you already have winter. The winter's like a lockdown for you. I mean, they can be hard.
Yeah, we're used to it. We're used to it, but we like to gather in the winter. We all gather in the same house, so right now that's what's complicated, because people are used to gather and have kitchen party and everything. This is what this is how we survive in the winter. But I guess we're gonna have an outside party, or like, I don't know how we're gonna do this.
Yeah. No, I suffer. I don't have a Netflix account and things like that, and so because I don't look at. I used to binge a bit on some series, and then all of a sudden I was going. At 4 a.m. I said, "Come on, you stop!" And even if the series was bad, I'd still continue in some sort of hope that it will get better, and so it's sad that during this lockdown, all the people who make profit are the online businesses, and that cinemas, we just have a lockdown now. The festival will stop on Monday instead of Wednesday night or Thursday, because the cinemas have been locked down, and it's just ridiculous, because nobody's gotten sick in a cinema or in a museum or in a theater, and so politicians are making the wrong choices, and it's just killing. It's going to kill off whatever hope, or possibilities for the movie industry. And I just hope also people will just all of a sudden have enough, because there's a moment you have enough of internet. You have enough probably of binging on Netflix or on Amazon Prime or all these things, and you just want to get out and sit with people. We'll see what happens. As long as you can make more movies as nice as the one you made, I'll be happy.
Oh, thanks so much. Thanks so much. I think I have time for one last question, if there's anything that popped up, or.
Well, I don't know. Does Martin have a question, maybe? Or anything?
No, I'm actually getting calls in the background from my kids.
Okay, that's reality.
That's reality. That's yeah.
Well, I'd say, do you have a movie in the pipeline? Is it a movie or a commercial you're shooting, Mélanie?
Today I'm shooting a commercial, basically for COVID, for like protecting people for the government. But I'm writing right now my next feature film, which is a totally opposite theme and genre. It's a drama, and it's based on the life of the first woman who was part of the Canadian Army, Canadian infantry. So like the infantry is like the Marine in the States, and it's only in 1990 that the women were allowed to be part of the infantry. So it's basically her life, how she started, and how she fight, and she went to abroad to in Bosnia and Croatia to be part of. She was a leader of a group like that fight for. So it's her story, and it's really an important story. It's kind of a silent hero for me, and so I'm adapting her biography into a film, and it's and I just want to portray like it connects with Fabulous in the fact that I wanted to show different woman characters. So this is another kind of woman character I'm exploring, and but it's going to be a totally different type of like. You won't laugh a lot in this one, well, but it's nice to explore other things. It's nice to explore a story that I like to say that it's a gravitas story. It's something that's like really important that people needs to learn and to feel. Yeah.
Well, I hope we get to see it and maybe show it at the festival. And what I really hope is that we can invite you. Finish it off real fast. Next year is going to be a Quebec year, a focus.
Oh yes, I would love to.
Yeah, and so we get to all get together also with Martin, that we can sit and have coffee somewhere here.
Absolutely,
Yes.
it will be my pleasure.
Okay, well then, good shooting, Martin. All the best. Thank you so much for taking part in this discussion, and
Sure,
and
you.
you too, Melanie. And it was a really nice time with you guys.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Take care.
Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you both. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.